Hey everybody, this is Kevin from the RCS Office of eLearning, bringing you another episode of Canvas A to Z. Letter G this week. We're going to dig into groups and two features of the Gradebook, both how it communicates with PowerSchool and some tips and tricks to help that go smoothly. And I'm also going to introduce you to the new Gradebook, which you actually have access to now if you so choose to do so. So we're going to take a look at groups. So inside any of your courses that have students enrolled, you'll be able to put them into groups. So this doesn't just apply to elementary reading groups. This could be project groups. This could be any reason that you would want to kind of create a digital space for a selected group of students. The way you do that is you go under the People option in the course menu, and then you'll have what are called group sets. It took me a while to kind of wrap my head around this, but group set would be individual reasons for creating groups. So in a classroom, it might be project 1 is a group set, project 2 is a group set, project 3 is a group set, and so on and so forth. Because then once you actually have this group set up, then you actually create student groups. So here's my example project groups. Now yours will look very different because you'll have a list of students. Now keep in mind, this is going to be all of the students in your course. If you have 3 or 4 sections of a course, they're all going to be here. However, when you set these groups up, you can tell it, students must be in the same section to be in the same group. But we'll help you through that as you start to experiment with this. So within the group set, then you just create groups. So I kept it really simple, group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, and just for sample sake, I'll go ahead and say group 5. You can go ahead and dictate, limit groups to a certain number of people. And that allows you to make sure you don't have 15 people in one group. Then you've got a couple of options. Again, you'll have a lot more students here. You can just click and drag students into the groups. And likewise, you can drag them out. You could also just click the plus button and then pick what group you want them to be in. But let's say you want to randomly put kids in groups. That's where you can get into these expanded options up top. So you can randomly assign students. And this is where you would say, hey, make all the group members be in the same section, so you don't have kids in 3rd period in the same group as kids in 4th period, for example. And once you do that, it'll randomly assign those kids to groups. So what can you do with those groups? So the way you get to these digital spaces that you're creating for the groups is you'll click on these 3 dots and go to Visit Group Homepage. Okay, so this will act very much like a course, except it's going to just those students in the group. So for an example, if you needed to make an announcement that only applied to group 1, you could make an announcement here. If you wanted to hold a discussion that only people in group 2, you could do it that way. If there's files or pages that only apply to a group, you can put it there. Okay, so the whole, and they've even got their own calendar as well. So you can put calendar events that'll only show up on members of that group's calendars. So there's a lot we can do with this. We're just now getting teachers experimenting with it, but I think there's some real power in being able to customize our communication and our collaboration with a specific group of students rather than sending out these blanket messages to all the class that only apply to 4 or 5 kids. So we want to help you with this. We're learning as we go as well. So if you would like to experiment with the groups feature, certainly give it a go, but let us support you. Reach out to a member of the e-learning staff. Okay, the second G we're going to take a look at is the Gradebook. By now you are probably aware that when you put grades in put grades in Canvas, whether it's an assignment, whether it's a quiz or a graded discussion, you have the option of syncing those scores into PowerSchool. In other words, you don't have to enter the scores 2 places. Process for that. That's where we get a lot of calls from people that it's just not working right. Essentially what you do is when you set up an assignment or a discussion or a quiz, there will be a box that says something to the effect of sync grades with SIS, Student Information System. So it doesn't specifically say PowerSchool, but it says sync grades to SIS. Basically, all that means is that you're allowing Canvas to be able to sync those grades, but you ultimately need to make that happen, okay? The way you do that is from your gradebook. When you're ready to push those grades over, it's a one-way push. It goes from Canvas to PowerSchool. It does not go vice versa. You need to click the Post Grades button. Once you do that, within a reasonable amount of time, anywhere from 2 minutes to 10 minutes, your grade should transfer over. Let's say, for example, that after you've done this, you needed to change a grade. If you go into PowerSchool to change a student's grade, the next time you do this post grades, it's going to overwrite it with what's in Canvas. So if you need to make a change to students' grades, you need to make the changes in Canvas. That's a common issue that we see. Okay, I will share in the notes for this video this particular document, but we created kind of the troubleshooting list that we want you to refer to if you run into trouble. So starting at the very top, make sure you've selected the sync to SIS in the assignment or quiz. Make sure you've clicked the sync grades button, which that now says post grades, not sync. I need to update that. You need to make sure there's a due date for the quiz or assignment. If there's no due date, it will not go over to PowerSchool. You need to make sure that you create the assignment in Canvas. Do not create it in PowerSchool, because if you create it in PowerSchool and Canvas tries to talk to PowerSchool, PowerSchool is going to say, oh, nope, there's already an assignment here with that name, and it will not accept it. So make sure that you create the assignment in Canvas. Do not create a placeholder for it in the PowerSchool Gradebook. You need to make sure that the first 30 characters of the assignment name is unique compared to any others. So if you have this really long, elaborate assignment name, you got to make sure it's different than any other assignments. Otherwise, it treats it as a duplicate. Okay, and then finally, just wait a few minutes, and then there's under File in the PowerSchool Gradebook, you'll have a Refresh Gradebook option. Okay, you do all these things and you should be good to go. If you're doing all these things and it's not working, we have a deeper issue. Communicate with an e-learning specialist and we'll try to figure out what's going on. Okay, so the third G is the new gradebook. Okay, this is still in beta, which means that you have the ability to try it out. This will eventually be the gradebook. I don't know a date on that yet, but I wanted to use this as an opportunity to show you some of the differences, and they are enhancements. Okay, they really are. So what we're looking at here is the old gradebook that you're used to seeing, and in this tab is that same class under the new gradebook. Okay, so the first thing I notice as I go from old to new is I've got more real estate here. By that I mean that a lot of the things that are up top here are being collapsed into drop-down menus. Okay, so you have more student names on the screen potentially. Okay, they've combined some of the things. Okay, they've combined some of the things like import, export, post grades. They've combined those into this actions drop-down. Okay, so you're no longer going to have this post grades or sync grades button anymore. You'll click actions and then click sync to post grades. Okay. View is another thing that's a nice enhancement. In the old gradebook, you could only view, there's about 8 different ways that you could arrange the columns or view them, but it always showed it from the oldest assignment to the newest assignment, which meant that you had to potentially scroll quite a distance to find a particular new assignment that you're looking for. In the new gradebook, you can actually arrange by due date, newest to oldest. So what that means is your newest assignments, which are going to be likely the ones that you're going to need to grade, will be first. So you have a few enhancements on the arrange by. Okay, and then some of the filters, you can filter a couple different ways there, and then you can filter through your section this way too. Okay, so I would encourage you to go ahead and try this, and the way that you turn this on, it has to be done at the course level. Okay, so you'll need to go under settings for your course, and then what you'll be looking for is the tab that says feature options at the top, okay? Feature options. And then under new gradebook, to turn it on, you just click there and it turns on, okay? If you try it out and you don't like it, turn it back off, okay? But again, this will eventually become the gradebook, so I think it's good to get a little experience with it. If you have any issues, problems, concerns, certainly let us know, and I'd also like to hear your feedback on it. What's working better for you than the old gradebook? So again, those are the 3 G's. We looked at groups, we looked at the some tips and tricks on the SIS sync or PowerSchool sync, and then the new gradebook. So as always, if you have questions, reach out to a member of the e-learning team. We're here to help you. We'd like to practice some of these things with you to see what they actually look like in a real classroom. So until next time, this is Kevin from the Office of E-Learning. Take care.